Hello, YouTube. We are back with some more BT-15 match commentary for y'all, but we're back with an even more special cause. This is a welcome back tour for the Highwayman, back from Japan. The man himself, TJ, making a return.
It's me. Hello. It's me, Mr. Pinhead. I'm here. Hello.
We missed you. We missed your brother Bear.
I returned from my journey. My long trip. I have learned much, and by learned much, I mean I've learned nothing.
You got some.
But
new
it was
drip,
a very good
though.
vacation.
It was a good trip.
I did get some really good new drip. Yes.
But yeah, speaking of new drip, we got some new decks to show off to you guys. Well, I guess half of this is a new deck. The other half is Coop playing Dorbick, running amok. He's been cooking with this list, and he's added some spicy pieces to it. Yeah, go ahead.
Have we had Dorbick on the channel before, actually?
We have, and that was when Jose decided to set the new record for the shortest video on the channel against me, you know?
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, we do have Coop playing a spicy Dorbick list going against Drew, who's playing the new Digi Police. Full disclosure, this is Drew's very first Digimon Locals ever, so shout out to him to making it out and joining us that night. Was fun having him, so hopefully he keeps showing up to Sully's Abode, which is where we're at every Thursday at 6 p.m. We usually have a good crew out there, so if you want to join us and in the Chicagoland area, please feel free. They also have a ton of different locals that goes on like pretty much every day of the week.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, check out their website. I'll link it in the video description below, along with our socials, which includes our Twitter, our Instagram, our Discord, and our TCG Player affiliate and YouTube membership. The information for a box tournament as well will be in there, so please do check it out. We've got signups going live for the tournament that'll be going on in a couple of weeks. So if you're looking for some regionals practice, some just chill out time and playing Digi with the boys, you know, feel free to join the tournament. And information, like I said, will be down below. But without further ado, let's hop right into the round over here.
Did you know that in Japan there is a card shop that is dedicated to just Flesh and Blood?
Wow. Really?
I haven't said this at all yet.
Yeah.
But like I know but it hit my brain. I don't know why. I think it's because we were just talking about Sully generally, just talking about shops and different card games. And I remembered that when I was looking for Digimon shops in Japan to like find the cards for Jarell and stuff. There was one shop that was literally called Flesh and Blood something. I can't remember. Or it might have just been called like Flesh and something. I don't know, but it was a Flesh and Blood. It was I looked at the like reviews and everyone was just like amazing Flesh and Blood card shop. Must visit. Come by.
Wow.
That was interesting to see.
Yeah, that is interesting. It is crazy to see like the spread of the different card games, like how I guess the audiences are sort of like similar but also different to what we see here in the West. Because you were saying too, like Digimon product was like super hard to come by, right?
It was hard to find in Akihabara.
Yeah.
I just butchered my pronunciation on that, I think. But I went to Denden Town over in Osaka. I think it's Denden Town, not Denden. Anyways,
yeah.
It's an area in Osaka that like is known for like card shops and electronics. There's a bunch of stuff there.
Yeah.
And that was the place where we walked by a shop. I wasn't paying attention. I had a shop that I was heading to, and Casey just looked to like the side, and she was like, "Oh, hey, look, Digimon," and we were like, "Who?" And there was like rows of it.
Nani?
But in Akihabara, there was nothing. It was all just like One Piece and Weiss and Yu-Gi-Oh.
The big three.
And Pokemon, of course. And then Shadowverse was like here and there.
Sure.
There's also Duel Masters as well. But yeah, it was good. It was cool. I'm glad I was able to find most of the stuff. Apologies for the little bit of choppiness. There's some in this video, and I think the next round has a little bit, but after that, it's fine. It doesn't last very long. Ben and I are re-recording because you guys don't want to hear the original audio. We were deader than shit.
Yes, that is very true. But to summarize what's been going on so far, we see Drew have a pretty decent start. You know, he had the Ryuta in the back and was able to search for Brigade with the Commandra. Coop sort of threw back the cycling spree with the Guillemot in the back and then a Sister Blanc, which I won't spoil it, but the Sister Blanc is a key piece to his spicy tech, so be on the lookout for it.
Yeah.
And then I think we also mentioned this on the other video too. Drew is starting to get into the game, so there may be some plays that may come off as a little bit like maybe not the best ones or not the most efficient ones in the moment. He's still learning the game, as we all are. So a little bit of forewarning there.
If you're someone who doesn't play Digi Police or anything like that, then don't even worry about it. You know what? This is just it. You won't even probably notice. But if you are someone who plays the deck, you'll probably see some plays here and there and be like, it might be a bit of a head scratcher, but you know it's okay. Everyone's got to learn at some point, right? So
yeah.
No one starts off the game and just is instantly making the best calls or the best plays.
Well, we see Coop here starting the game and instantly going into a Dorbick, which is something. Dorbick's effect will pop the Ginru, and then the Growlmon as the inheritable will help him gain a memory. So he's able to get a Dorbick out on board and then chokes Drew to 1, which is very cruel, but also very efficient on Coop's end. And
I think that is a turn 2 Dorbick.
Yeah. And then to your note too, I mean, Digi Police, like, I don't know. I mean, I obviously didn't play as much D-Brigade as you did for sure. But I feel like it's also a deck that is very, like, you have to know when to time your effects. You have to know when to kind of sequence things.
Yeah.
And it's an acquired skill that you got to just practice for.
Well, the thing is too, is Digi Police right now is at the moment you either can play the deck still pure D-Brigade, which is still fine. You can still do that. It'll be just as good as it was because we didn't get anything new for D-Brigade stuff.
Yeah.
And that's game 1 because so neat little bit. He actually used Savior Huck, the BT-6 one, which is a Dragonkin, and because he had the Sistermon on board, he was able to unsuspend himself again. So that's how he was able to do 3 unsuspends because he also had the Majira as well.
Which is bonkers. That is a tech that I would never have thought of.
Yeah,
but it's absolutely spicy,
and it works too. Because I mean, she that sister is just a really good draw engine. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's if you're not playing the D-Brigade pure version of the list, then you are just playing the Digi Police deck, which on right now is sort of in like a middle spot where we have 2 full lines that go up into it. So you have your top end, you have your level 5s, you have most of your level 4s, but you're still missing like a whole other rookie set.
Yeah.
Which right now it's like BT-15 and the LM Ryuta seem to be the go-tos for most people. That or you're playing like some sort of like generic rookie, like a memory blocker or something like that, which that's a very rare pick, but that's something you could do. Once we get BT-16, we get the other Commandramon line, which helps the consistency with Cargo Dramon and everything else.
Yeah.
There's also just good D-Brigade support in general.
For sure.
But it's also all D-Police, so you get your full D-Police deck at that point.
Yeah. I have been messing around with this deck a lot too. I still have a lot of testing to do, but I did play Digi Police that night as well. I had some good matchups. I had some rough matchups. I think one thing I definitely would probably reconsider for me is I like like you were saying, the BT-4 Commander probably a little bit better than the Ryuta. I felt like the Ryuta in theory was nice for that DP boost, and with when you're alliancing and like blocking and stuff, sometimes that's nice, but like it just never really came up for me.
Yeah.
Another thing that I like thought about too was like the Kyokomon is sort of the go-to egg that most people are using. I honestly am like reconsidering like Missimon for like, you get that DP boost, you recycle some pieces.
Sure.
And I also wanted to throw in like maybe more generic like black rookies. So like I feel like maybe I want to see if the Sunariza will work. I think that's maybe a little bit of copium. But the 13k with the Missimon is the only way you can achieve it though, because everything else is a 12k. So you kind of have to hope that you can proc Missimon to get that.
Yeah, I mean it's something you could consider.
Yeah. Or even like Chikuris, right? To throw in like a surprise Digivolve. Just like tech rookies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tech choice. It just depends on like, you just have to be aware that like consistency is going to not be as good. We do see Drew go for a swing here with jamming with a Numamon and check a sister. So he lives. He's gonna go Tantramon over the Nume. We'll reveal 3. He can play out one of the Commandramons there. He'll play out the yeah. He will play out the EX3 Commandra, which has decoy for other D Brigade cards. This is Cooper just letting him know that he can choose if he wants to keep the Satsuki in the stack or not.
Yeah, I think the smart play here is to just poop it back out.
Yeah.
Especially if like Coop hits a Dorbick and you lose the Satsuki, that's always rough.
Yeah, I mean he does have the 1 layer of protection, luckily. Not that it super matters necessarily.
So like
Fireball.
Technically, the decoy shouldn't have procced because the Ryuta is a beast, not a D Brigade.
It's not D Brigade.
But it doesn't matter because Coop ends up just popping it anyway.
Yeah, there's another Fireball. That's the other thing too is like it's harder to use the Ryuta because so many of the inheritables for the Digi Police Commandramon line look specifically for D Brigade. It's when you can tell when they initially designed it. I don't think they mapped it out that well.
No,
I think it's very, very weird in how it's structured. Where like you have these cards that are D Police, that they're gonna get more D Police support later with the Ryuta and everything, but their inheritables aren't designed to work with them at all. They're only designed to work with D Police or D Brigade.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I think you've alluded to it too. Like the deck is sort of in this like transitory phase where it's like sort of in the middle of 2 archetypes, and it doesn't really have like an ideal setup for either.
Yeah, it's still decent. It's still a good deck.
It's a good deck.
Cool.
It's fun. It's interactive for sure.
I think the new line too is also a little bit harder to use. I think it takes a little bit more sort of adjusting, because it does change the playstyle up a fair bit, because you're not as focused on the wide boarding and then like rushing your opponent's security down like that. You're kind of building your more traditional stack to, possibly bottom deck something, and you can do a couple of checks. I do think it's better for like immediate aggression, like out of raising.
Sure.
But yeah, see, Drew, go ahead and reveal 4 cards here.
I think we talked about this originally too. We see the 2 level 6s in hand that he had. Yeah. Retrospectively speaking, it probably would have been better to go into one of the level 6s. Like I think particularly at this point, the Brigade probably would have been the best bet.
Yeah, I think we were talking, and he went into the Ginryu in the back when he was at 3, and we were saying that it would have. And I mean, other people can put their opinions in on this too. But I think it would have. I think we both agreed that it would have been better to go over the Tanktra with the Brigadra, choke Coop to 1, and then off the reveals that he just showed right there, off that Black Memory boost, he would have been able to
play out like
play out the
Satsuki
and the Commandramon. I think I think the Satsuki wasn't the last card reveal. I think it was the 3rd card.
Yeah. So he would have had a pretty good board there, and honestly could even just potentially go for game depending on how things played out. So learning experience for sure. I think the deck definitely needs getting used to. And going against a deck also like Dorbick, where it's just like all of a sudden you're just pounded against the wall and game's over, can also be a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to like plan for that unexpected play.
Yeah, well, you kind of just have to be ready. Like you pretty much have to just know how many cards are in your opponent's hand, and then depending on how many cards they have in hand, just kind of be able to say, hey, they may or may not have all the Dorbick pieces they need. But he'll go Oryu here. He bottom decks that Guilmon. He's going to do the swing. Does check. It's a Lavo Garita.
What is important too, though, is that he can't technically bottom deck. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like I think you need to have the Satsuki underneath or some sort of tamer with Digi Police underneath to bottom deck.
I'm actually not super familiar with Oryu as much as you are. I just know the original.
I believe that's the case.
Because
I know.
You're probably right.
I know the Hisaryu, you need to have the tamer in play, and same thing with the Ginryu.
If the tamer card with the Digi Police trade is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, yep, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon or tamers to the bottom of the deck. So he needed Satsuki to be
which is another like frustrating part that I encountered during that night, was that if I wasn't seeing my tamers, which like honestly the deck is not that like hurting for tamer play out, like there's many ways you can cheat the tamers out, but if you're like not hitting them, like the deck is in a rough spot. Because a lot of your like turboing up into the level 6s, playing out by effects, bottom decking, and all that stuff like doesn't happen on your turn unless you have the tamer inside. And if you're missing that, then you're kind of just stuck.
Yeah. I think also at a certain point he attached a Satsuki to a Tantramon that he shouldn't have been able to do. I don't know if we've seen it yet, or maybe I missed it, but I'm pretty sure that was a thing that happened.
We see Coop here go into a Burning Gray, stacking it on top of another Burning Gray, which will be able to pop a 6k DP or less. Chooses to pop the Ginryu.
It's 4k.
Or 4k or less, yeah. Pops the Mem Boost to go back up to 2. And here I think he's considering the legendary, oh so traumatizing Dorbick play.
Which he'll use one of the Burning Grays. He has a Gromon in there, so he'll, go for 3. He'll pop the Ordew, which
does have protections in theory.
It does, yeah, and this is unfortunate because the Commandramon does have protection. He should have been able to pop the Hi-Commandra to keep himself okay.
Cooper will swing over the other suspended stack.
Is that? I wonder. If you... No, it's just when an opponent's Digimon is deleted game memory. It doesn't matter. It just says when you delete an opponent's Digimon. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was wondering if he'd still gain the memory if he used the protection there.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, so...
A little bit of a rough spot here.
He lost the Ordew.
Lost the Ordew. Does have 4 memory, so I mean, if he can go get his way up into another Ordew, he could do something here. Does decide to swing jamming with the Satsuki. Gets a little bit of cycle in with the Hi-Commandra.
Yeah.
Is able to play out the Nume. Which unfortunately doesn't have rush because we can't slip a Satsuki underneath. Otherwise, that would have been pretty clutch.
He does have a Cargo and a Brigadra in hand. I know other D Police or D Brigade players are going to be shrieking in their brain. And there it goes.
Yeah.
So he goes Cargo over the Nume. I think we discussed in the first time too that we thought that it probably would have been better to go over the
Hi-Commandra.
Yeah, because even if he's suspended, he can go Brigadra right after that. Do Brigadra's whole thing. He could leave Satsuki under there if you wanted to reboot, or he could spin her out. You'd still match DP with the boy, the big lad there, and you would have given everything else blocker. The Numemon wouldn't have had blocker, but anything else that gets played out would have had it.
I think here too, like not going into a Brigade, because Brigade would at least pop the sister. Again, in the grand scheme of things, probably doesn't change a whole lot, but at least you get a Brigade like established and you're able to do things. We do have 1 blocker, which, he does choose to sacrifice his Cargo. We have a Lightning Joust on the sister. No blockers, so we'll swing 2 checks at 6k, lives, and then is able to swing Agu for game.
Yeah, because no blockers.
Yeah. Which is where the Brigade probably... I think he's talking about that right now as he's like going over things.
That he should have just Cargoed into Brigade.
Yeah.
Would have put Coop at 3, which is what Coop was going to go to anyways because of the hero. But hey, I mean, Drew's learning. He still did pretty good.
Yeah.
Definitely did better than my first few times playing the game.
And I mean, honestly, too, like if you're just picking up the game with how many effects and sequencing things you have to remember with just like D Brigade and now Digi Police in general, like I mean, that's still like pretty impressive that you're able to like put a coherent match together.
Yeah, for sure.
Other people may have a different opinion. Other people may be like, why aren't you playing it perfectly right away? Well, we're human. And I think he still did a pretty decent job.
I'm not human.
No, you're a kaiju.
I'm a highwayman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're our own breed, our own species.
But yeah, I mean, shout out to both players. I think Coop definitely with the spicy list, piloted Dorbick very well. Drew picking up D-Brigade and Digi Police for the first time is also like pretty good showing here. Yes, a few optimal plays could have been done, but still, I mean, I think a deck that, as we alluded to, still needs a little bit of fine-tuning. I'm tweaking it around myself to see what works, what doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, I think I'll be interested to see how it kind of progresses through the rest of the meta once the ban list comes into full effect, and then once we see BT-16 and some of the additional stuff that we get from that set as well. So it should be a good time for Digi Police over the next couple sets. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you all for tuning in. As I said before, you know, please do check out our socials, particularly our Discord. That's where a lot of the communication regarding the box tournament, which is linked in the description below as well, will be taking place. Sign up, win some packs, get some practice in, play some Digi, kick it back, and chill with us.
Let us commentate your matches. Let us live commentate your matches so you can feel the full force of the pinhead.
Get the full experience. You know, the full VIP experience right there and then.
I will highway your man.
Oh.
I don't know what that means, but it feels intimate, and I want to share that with you.
This video about to get demonetized. But yeah, thank you guys once again for all your support. We really do appreciate every one of you. And hopefully you can look forward to more match play and content moving forward. And we'll see you on that next one. Bye-bye.